Yes.
Good evening. It is now 7:01, and I would like to call the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order.
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Broom.
Present.
Commissioner Eubanks.
Present.
Commissioner Hunt is not here. Commissioner Williams is not here. Vice Chair and Chair Ellis
Present.
and Commissioner Garner.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum at. Have I announced everything? Mr. Thor, Commissioner Thor. Sorry, this is not updated. I am so sorry.
And Greg's. Greg's.
And Commissioner Greggs.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum at 7:02 p.m.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Is there any public comments at this time?
We have no public comments.
Thank you. I would need a motion to approve, for approval of the minutes.
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any
Motion.
discussion? If not, cast your votes. I forgot how to do that. Do we just click the? It's the blue one?
Motion passes 6-0.
Also, too, let's call to order for our business. First on the agenda is the Park and Recreation Program overview for Recreation Supervisor Jalen Venezuelan? How you say? Valenzuela. Okay, wonderful. I almost got it right. And Park and Recreation Director Shahad Wright.
All right, welcome everybody tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope everybody had a good summer. It's good to be back. We're going to do an overview for some of our new commissioners and also give some data for some of the programs that Jalen oversees. Jalen is our supervisor over sports, but she is also doing a lot more for our building since we do not have a supervisor for the water park. So this summer, she was also overseeing the water park and our summer camps and our sports. So she was doing a lot. We got some numbers, and we're going to go over some of that stuff tonight. All right, let me cue this up.
Thank you, Jalen, for taking on all them roles and responsibilities.
Well, do you guys need it? Because we have it in our packets.
I can follow.
PC, there we go. There it is. All right, well, you guys got that one. You got this one. I tried. All right. So we're gonna click through here. So this is just a basic, like I said, a basic overview of everything that we do. The next slide. So for Park and Rec, we have 12 full-time positions. Currently, we have 10 filled, so we have 2 vacancies. One is a coordinator for the senior center, and one is the rec manager position. At the community center, we have 7 positions. At the water park, we currently have 2 people there. One person is on protected leave. She just had a baby. Congratulations to her. And then Nick Rodriguez has 1 full-time. Overall, we hire around 300 people in a season. A lot of those are at the water park, lifeguards. One of the things that's unique for recreation is that our part-timers also take care of our building. They're our maintenance team. So when we have rentals or we have a special event and we need to turn over the building and mop and clean windows, that's our part-time staff. We don't contract out like City Hall does. So a lot of our staff range in ages. So some of them are their first time job, and then some of our staff come back out of retirement and they depend on, a steady income and something fun to do. So we got a lot of people that's passionate, that are learning, and a lot of people that are aging and growing still. So all right. So the Antioch Community Center, this is our hub. This is where everybody was this past summer. As you know, the Nick Rodriguez Center was closed along with our water park. And this, I will let Jalen go over these numbers and classes.
Hello, okay. Okay, so in the last 8 months from January to August, we offered 46 recreation classes. This is all mostly our young artisan workshops, so slime lab, cooking class, we have a sewing class, and a lot of just those arts and crafts classes. We had 46 of those and 552 participants. Coyote Hills Summer Camp, we had 235 campers for the summer. In summer lunches, which is a free lunch program that we offer, we gave out 1,225 lunches. And of course, we have preschool, we have our library, and then we have our sports gym. And I actually think, I'm going to backtrack, what was included in the recreation classes as well was our sports classes as well.
All right. So another thing that we do at the community center is facility rentals. That's the hub. So we have our facilities coordinator, who is new, is going to get introduced on Tuesday at the city council meeting. Vaughn, he does sports field rentals, permits, and then he also does all 3 facilities when we get back. So the multi-purpose room inside the water park, our ballroom, our gym, and then everything that happens down at the Nick Rodriguez when we open back up. So he is a crucial part of what we're doing. And then when you just think about the ballroom, the Riverview room, and all these different rooms, there's weddings, quinceañeras, a lot of celebrations. So these rooms are not just a revenue generator, but they're also a milestone of memories that are happening inside the city facilities. All right. Going to sports.
And I'm back. Junior Golden State Basketball League that runs from January to March. We had 210 players and 24 volunteer coaches. Then we had our Junior Giants Baseball League, which is completely free for our participants. We had 460 players and then 40 volunteers. That was coaches, team parents, assistant coaches. Actually, here's our youth sports classes numbers. So 25 classes offered in the last 8 months, and that came out to 300 participants. Then we also run an adult softball league 2 times a year. In the spring, we had 23 teams and 345 players. And then in our current fall season, we have 25 teams and 390 players. In our sports camp that ran this past summer, we had 150 campers. And then year-round, we do our drop-in sports, which is volleyball, basketball, and pickleball.
And I'll just want to say, Jalen's been going on her 2nd year. When she came in, our softball league was deteriorating, and we're about to just turn it off because we didn't have enough teams. I think the 8 teams were playing each other, and the first thing that Jalen did was ignite that league for our adults. And she went out there, she listened to what they wanted and they needed. the field conditions, the prepping, the training of our staff, better umpires, the lights, the scoreboards, like all that stuff Jalen did in her first year. And we're seeing the fruits of her work with these numbers of going from 8 teams up to 25. And now I'm seeing other cities, they're trying to step up their game too, because we're getting some of the teams that left are coming back. So I want to shout out that. And then also just to say that we're the second largest league in California when it comes to junior giants. Last year we reduced, but we're still one of the largest. It's just a major haul with that many volunteers. So a major shout out to Jalen with all the stuff that was happening at the water park in terms of training the staff and trying to get them ready for the season, on top of the camps, on top of the junior giants. Major kudos. I mean, I wouldn't be working here if it wasn't for Jalen. She's taken a major stronghold over everything that's going on in recreation. So thank you very much. All right, on the special events. Sorry. No worries. So currently we do over 20 special events a year, and all these events are free for the community. Some of the public have noticed the growth of Juneteenth. We've had the largest attendance was this year. Over 5,000 residents came, and we used Pacer AI to collect that data to see how many people and foot traffic we have for that event. The year previous, we had around 4,000, so it was 1,000 residents jump. 4th of July was great. It was fabulous this year. Major kudos to all the staff that came out, worked on the holiday, gave up their time, and we did the free carnival rides in the parking lot here, and the fireworks were phenomenal. That was actually the first time of our new fireworks person doing their own show. And if you saw it, it was amazing. The boat didn't go to Oakley like the year before. And there was no fog, so it was very clear to see everything on the water. So we were very excited about that. We didn't do Multicultural Festival this year. Again, we're just having staffing issues and capacity issues, but we're looking to try to redo that next year. The summer movie nights, we're having over 100 families come annually. They're bringing their chairs out, enjoying the free popcorn, the arts and crafts. We let the families vote around Christmas time what movies they like, and then we listen to them, and then we put those movies out. And then an event that's coming up that everybody loves is Big Truck Day. And there's a lot of smaller events in between these events that we have, but these are the ones that capture the most residents. All right, Nick Rodriguez Community Center. So what happens there, we have a theater, and we were having acting classes and stuff like that. We were using technicians from the El Campanile to actually run our sound and light booth. We do rentals there. We average around $80,000 in revenue for the rentals. We also provide youth classes through Parks and Rec and for public safety. Public safety, that was actually their hub for a lot of their summer events and camps, tutoring and stuff of that nature. We also have the Antioch Friends of Seniors. They are the ones that are the nonprofits that run our bingo, and they're going to be raising funds to give back to the seniors for senior trips. And then we have our senior programming that is every day. There's a ton of exercise classes, art classes, and just socializing and friendships that happen at the senior center. And it's been unique having them at ACC to kind of see them daily and interact and get the pomegranate jam from some of them that they make from home. And it's just a real family environment, and they look forward to coming there every day. And they can't wait to go back, but it's been an experience for me to understand, accessibility for that age group is super important. And hopefully some of the things that we're doing at the senior center is going to make it more easily accessible for them to get around, to use the restrooms, and to get in and out of their classes. So we're looking forward to that. I would also say that we do a food giveaway, and we just got an award from, was it Josh Harder, for our food bank that we do on Wednesdays. So all the volunteers got, a certificate for their hard work of giving out food every Wednesday with the seniors. So a lot of good stuff and positivity coming out of there. All right. Let's talk about the improvements. So we are getting closer. I heard today with an update that we got 8 HVAC units up on the roof. So that's a major move to getting complete. We're also just walked on Wednesday with 4 or 5 different contractors to finish some of the work inside. So again, those restrooms, flooring, ceiling, towels, and stuff like that. So those are going to be the major updates with that building. And I don't know if anybody's seen it, but we also have that beautiful mural that was done. We just did an interview with that muralist. I was trying to coincide it so they go hand in hand with the opening, but it looks like the mural got done before we were back. So we'll do a celebration of everything when the building is open. All right. Water park facility improvements. So the PA system was fully replaced. One of the things that I wanted to do for our facilities is get everything technology-wise up to date. So the multi-purpose room has screen technology versus projector. It has its own individual PA system in there. So now when there's a council meeting or a rental, they can use that technology and not some of the old outdated things that were hit and miss. Also, the PA system throughout the whole park has been replaced. So now we can control each zone of the park. So if we're doing lessons in lap, we can turn it down. If we're doing something in sport and we just need to page one area for emergency, we can. It was a major safety concern not having a PA system that worked in a park that's 5 acres. So, if we needed to evacuate or if we just needed to just get out of one pool for a rotation of lifeguards, this is going to make it a lot easier. I will also say that we finally got the permits from county. A lot of people wanted to know why it was taking so long. It was county permitting to make sure that everything that went through and that was done properly. So we've now officially got the word this week that all the decking has passed. So tomorrow they're going to be pouring the last piece of plaster for the sport pool, and that is going to be complete. So once that's complete, we need 7 days to scrub, and then we're going to be continuing to do swim lessons, and we're going to be doing water aerobics all the way up until the end of October. Yeah. So we're also looking at adding more classes and doing more things to continue to serve the community outside of the general admissions window of the summer. Oh, yeah, I did skip that. Yeah, so the water park was built in 1996. It's 5 acres and 5 pools. Like I said, we do water aerobics. We also do rentals. You can actually buy out the water park. And I think this is going to be a big revenue generator when we actually do open again, since the schools were very disappointed they couldn't come for end-of-year celebrations and birthday parties. I will say we added party zones. So there's like 2 new cabana areas. The party zones that did exist now have concrete, so you're not going to be trucking your cooler through the mud and then taking that into the pool and then clogging up the filter. So everything was done strategically to enhance the experience for the guests. Again, swim lessons. When we were open, we had over 900 participants. In a general admission season, we average over 30,000 guests. So it is an economic driver for Antioch, because not only Antioch residents come to the water park, but again, the YMCA from San Francisco, the Oakland Boys and Girls Club, other recreation departments come here with their kids and look forward to using the water park. So we're going to be very proud to open our doors again. All right, so looking forward to 2026-27 this fiscal year. We would love to expand programming, but expanding programming also comes with the capacity of our staffing. We're also looking into sponsorships and grant opportunities, and we're getting very, very close to putting shovels in the ground for the Antioch Bike Garden. This is a project that's been around for some time. It's going to be a 5-acre park, $5 million. It should be coming back in front of everybody in the next 2 months to see the final designs elements. And with that, that's all I got. And if you're not following us, please follow us on social media. That's where we post a lot of our videos and recaps on Facebook and Instagram. Is there any questions?
Do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
What does the Antioch garden, the bike garden, consist of?
Yeah, so the bike garden is with CCTA. It's about learning how to ride your bike in a street element. So it is a cityscape shrunken down. So there's going to be traffic lights and street lanes paved and bike lanes and all these different obstacles for young and old people to come ride their bikes in, enjoy the scenery, but also to learn how to navigate their bikes in a controlled setting to then go ride their bikes throughout the city.
And where's the location of this site going to be?
Yeah, so this is going to be at Pruitt Family Park, so right next to the community center. Yeah.
So you say we finally are going to be able to break ground. So did the owl leave?
You are correct.
Okay.
We took samples of the soil and we had a biologist out there, and there was no sighting of the owl. So we took the samples of the soil, and then we were able to kind of move forward with that. They're testing the results, and then we'll have them come back. I'm hoping in September. That way we can try to start planning to put some shovels in the ground and start getting to work early 2027.
So we had a protected owl in the area, and so that was one of the reason for the delay of them starting the bike garden. We wanted to make sure that it was not going to be injured or harmed, and so that was the delay. We had did all the markups and the meetings to design what the bike garden was going to look like. And soon as we was ready to get it going, we discovered that the owl had moved from what we thought was going to be his protective habitat, and it moved over to where the bike garden is going to be. So it wasn't safely. You couldn't safely do anything without potentially harming the owl. So.
How long did that go on?
From quite some time.
In quite some time, yeah.
Did the owl leave on its own?
It did. It did, yeah.
And that was mainly a problem because it's on a strict timeline with that grant process through the CCTA. What is it, 2029?
I believe
Is it to
so.
be finished by?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But we're looking to be done hopefully by early 2028. I don't want to be cutting it close with these grants anymore, so.
I have a question. I think I may have missed this part. Did you say that we are having the swim lessons right now, or we are, right?
We are.
I was, I don't want to say irritated by that, but somebody in the community had mentioned, because I'm like, oh yeah, we're remodeling, doing different things, right? And so they said that you guys are doing swim lessons. I'm like, no, we're not doing swim lessons. So I didn't know anything about it, and I felt kind of dumb as a commissioner not knowing. So, some things like that would be, good to know ahead of time. But as far as these other things, are we collecting demographic and geographic information about the participants so that we can kind of figure out like what areas may be underserved as far as all the basketball, all these different things that we have going on?
Yeah, currently the way that ActiveNet catches information, it only catches like the 925, and then so we don't collect race or we have addresses, but the way we would have to do it is manually. I think we asked Emily before, because, you know, Antioch has the 31, and what is on this side, 09 or something like that?
Three, are, you
09.
guys are 09 over here? Oh, is
09
it?
on this side.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out a way to figure out how to ask without changing our registration system. So it's not the first time that's been asked.
Yeah, I kind of get that even with the work that I do. Even with like grants and different things, I kind of want to know like a lot of information that I don't feel comfortable with asking folks.
It's tough, yeah.
So, but I do think that there should be a way to we probably should try to figure that out, because I do know that, I mean, there are a lot of people in different areas of the city that probably can't get all the way out this way for either basketball, softball, or wherever we have these different things, or can't afford, you know, so I just kind of want to make sure that those kids get those opportunities too, so, and then more outreach to them as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've been considering with Nick Rodriguez is having classes on this side of town. So we were doing it when we were open. We were having the sports classes, and we're going to start bringing some of the slime labs down this end. And then we were able to get about $3,000 in scholarships from a private donor. And I was, you know, that went really well this summer, but I told him like I would want that money to come down on this side of town so that we could just offer classes at a very severe, you know, cost cut, so that we can get more people on this side to participate. Yeah.
Does Nick Rodriguez Center have a gym inside there? I can't remember.
No. So, but they do have two large, we call one a dining hall and one a multi-purpose room, but they're both multi-purpose rooms. Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to, once we get back, to use both of those to rent out and do different activities. Because currently the dining hall is just for seniors. Mm-hmm. But with the upgrades of technology, and I want to put a sound system in there, and we got new tables and stuff like that, I want kids and parties and everything on both sides to be going simultaneously. So I think with the restroom updates and the new flooring and all the stuff that we have planned, we should be able to really rev up.
Now, does the Park and Rec have vans? Because I know we were transporting the seniors to the community center. Is that an option to, even if the kids were to apply, maybe have them be able to apply on this side and then be able to be transported to, you know, the community center where the basketball is happening?
Yeah, so between us and public safety, we have two vans. They have a van, we have a van. So sometimes they borrow our vans, and sometimes we borrow theirs when we need to double up. The biggest thing is liability. We need to make sure we have a licensed driver, which is a Class B. So right now we're just transporting like small number of staff members to like our special events and stuff like that. And we did transport the Chichibu group when they were here. So that is an option. And I know the seniors right now, they're using Tri-Delta for their transportation. And then we have bus tickets and stuff like that for them.
Okay. So my other question was, I know because the water park wasn't open, I know we took a big hit in revenue, right? And how do we have a plan to recoup some of that money? And how is that going to hurt us going forward? Because usually it's a good revenue generating
Right.
part.
Right. It doesn't self-sustain itself in revenue, but if you take the 30,000 times it by an average of 16, you get close to like $400,000 in revenue. That's the average of the GA. And then we gave a lot of refunds in terms of, we were planning to be open, and Jalen did a great job of, teaching all the kids that we had, and they were, waiting to get into a pool. We were looking at, the gyms around areas and even the school pools to even do the trainings. Some of the things were a little bit cost prohibitive. The timing on some of the other pools was also a roadblock. So when we finally got into a pool that was permitted, we taught them, got them all in there, and that's where, we didn't use the lap pool, we used our boulder pool, which is not as deep, and you can't put as many kids, but I didn't want to waste the opportunity to give our young people a chance to go teach and make money for their parents or for school and for college. So that's why we kind of got it in there. And now that we have the lap pool, now we're being able to expand. And I think it was a good test to say, now we can do more activities in more of our pools. So now when we come around to the next summer, as long as we have enough instructors, we can have them in the sports pool, we can have them in the lap pool, and we can have them in, different age groups and different pools doing different activities. So yes, we lost money, but I think it was also a learning experience for us to kind of test the waters and see, what other pools we can use when something goes down. But hopefully, knock on wood, our plan now is to have a list of everything that we bought, services for every new item, so that things are regularly getting, taken care of and maintained. And then we know the life expectancy. Like plaster is 5 to 7 years. So in 5 to 7 years, we need to redo it. The plaster was way past 10, and then, pumps and skimmers and all the chemicals, feeders and all that type of stuff. So this summer, we've done nothing but replace, update, and put schedules together so that this thing will last another 10 years for the community.
So I know we were supposed to have a ribbon cutting, right, to celebrate, I think, what is it, let me see, 1996?
30 years, yeah.
Yeah, so since we're missing that, since we're not having a full park open, are we gonna do that next year or something to
That's
celebrate?
right, 2027. And we still have all the giveaways. We still have all our plans that we want to do. And I'm not stopping. I've already had a conversation with the acting city manager about the 2 slides, which I know is a concern for the community. I know they want those slides back. I've been looking into some other activities for our sport pool to kind of update it for our older population, the teens and stuff like that. So I think when people come back, hopefully they can appreciate it's not as flashy as you would expect for the amount of time that we've been closed. But when you walk in there, you're going to feel like you're home because we've been taking care of it. And, we hope the community comes in and can appreciate some of the smaller things that's not as flashy, but it's like necessary to operate and be open and to be safe. A lot of the stuff, when I first got here, I was like, I don't want to put my name on it if it's not safe. And we kind of skated by a couple of seasons with some duct tape and just fixing things on the fly. But, it takes time to do it right. And I think this is what this summer allowed us to do.
I'll yield it right now, but I got a few more questions, but I'll let you.
Question on the van transportation and getting Class B drivers. Is there some kind of job posting or anything for Class B drivers for seasonal or for transportation? Yeah,
not at this point because the vans are still new, like we just got them. So we're still trying to figure out, we really want the vans to be used for the seniors, for the senior trips. And since they haven't been in their own building, we've kind of just, delayed the whole process and idea. And then we have to come up with, the specs, and we have to come with a whole checklist of checking the vehicle beforehand. So a lot of procedures that need to kind of happen before we kind of go down that road.
Okay.
But I'll let you know so you guys can get the word out to help us find and locate somebody.
Has there been any work with Tri-Delta to see if we can't partner with them to get a, 1 or 2 pickup, 3 pickups throughout the community and drop them off there and then take them back to those 3 stops?
Yeah, that's funny. We went to Tri-Delta. They do an auction of their buses to offload, vehicles that they're no longer going to use. So we currently have a wrecked bus, but it's older. The wrap is, crumbling. So we went to go get a new bus, and then we didn't win the auction. I say that to say that we are looking into transportation as a resource for our community, and Tri-Delta has been great. I mean, they work with us on a numerous amount of things. I know when we had to do that emergency shelter, I think Tri-Delta was helping to get the unhoused, picking them up and stuff like that. So when our seniors have issues, they're the first people that kind of come. So in terms of thinking about them to help out the youth, we can probably figure out something as well. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I noticed there were a couple of buses sitting there today when I went by, and
Yeah.
it just seems like a real easy way to move the youth through the community, you know, with a third party that might be more economical and easier to find drivers, et cetera. They already have them, so might be beneficial to us in the long run.
Thank you for that.
So,
Jalen, this is for you.
thank you so much, too, for all of this. It looks like you're doing really great work, so thank you so much. So it's my understanding, I mean, just from talking to community members and people that are like really involved with city business and different things like that, I didn't think that the water park was really like getting any or a lot of revenue. And a lot of people are like complaining. I'm trying to figure out is like, not is that right, but a lot of people weren't really, from what I hear, a lot of people weren't really going to the water park. And I'm trying to figure out, is that just something we need to work on as far as like marketing, advertising, or something like that, reaching out to the community, or do you believe that that could have been because some of the slides were down over the last, I don't know, year or two or whatever? Do you think that that has something to do with it?
Yeah, I think it's a culmination of a few things, right? So when you have a deteriorating asset, it's not as nice to go to. And I think that was one of the issues. I mean, the showers didn't work. The slides needed repair. The ones that did work, they needed repair. You needed shoes to be in the pool because of the plaster was so bad. Like we were asking people to pay to come to something that was a liability to the city at the time. Me and Jalen, we are more of the mindset of we need to be providing what water and pools do for people, and that's teach them how to swim and give them exercise and to teach them lessons. It is very, very expensive to run general admission. When you need 30 lifeguards out there every 15 minutes, they need to rotate. So that means that you need extra lifeguards on standby to rotate in, and then you don't know how many people are going to come in on a Tuesday, right? And we do have some numbers that, you know, Tuesdays you have 200 people come in, and then, you know, Wednesday you have 300, and then the weekend you have 500 people come in, right? But we're open from 11 to 6. So that's a long time to be waiting for a couple hundred people to come in. So Jalen has worked in, I don't want to put your resume out there, but she's worked at previous water establishments, and she's done things to switch the timing to be more effective in terms of putting in more lessons and getting, you know, one-on-one touches so that we can get the revenue and then we can still have general admission. So we've been planning some of that stuff as well. The other thing is that the long plan of this is once you teach people how to swim, you don't have to find them later to become lifeguards. And everybody's having a hard time getting lifeguards because it is not taught anymore. So we want to get back to the grassroots of getting our schools and getting our seniors in so that we can teach that skill set so that when it comes time for us to hire somebody, they've already been in our waters and they know the process. It's worked in our summer camps. Our summer camps, we have all these people that return to be our summer camp counselors because they've been through our summer camp. So we're trying to just build that right now. And I think a lot more focus for next summer is going to be classes and just having the splash camp come back and partnering with East Bay Regionals so that we can have more teachers and people that can bring us that institutional knowledge to build it.
Would there be any opportunity to get together at the city schools standing committee and see what kind of partnerships the district can do with recreation?
Yeah, we'll love that.
Okay.
A couple of questions for me. I know we had a partnership with the Snack Shack, because I know there was some improvements made and someone's going to come in and help run it. Is that still a thing?
I got that one. Yes, that is still the plan. We just spoke to them a few weeks ago just to give them the updates. They were eager to get into the facility, but just given that we weren't opening, that didn't happen. But they are very much looking forward to coming to work with us next summer and for future years, depending on how the relationship works out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then, what's the ETA for the, senior centers opening? Do y'all have one kind of, sort of,
2028.
for them to
That
reopen?
was a joke.
Uh-huh.
There
I'm
is.
like, what?
That's what it's just starting to feel like.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not putting any date out there.
Oh, okay.
Because once I put a date out there, then people call, and
Yes,
then it's just not a,
yes.
So
And if it don't happen,
yeah, it starts
okay.
backfiring in my face, and it hurts. No, but we're getting closer, and like I said, with the 8 units going up today, that's a positive sign. So
Now, I'm looking at your special events that we have, and I know
Yeah.
we didn't do the multicultural festival this year. I know we also took off the, music in the park too. Have you had any complaints from the community about not having the music in the park? They're happy and content with the movies in the park.
yeah, I think one of the things is we're just trying to get that location, and I talked to a lot of residents, especially downtown. They wanted to bring it back on Saturdays downtown, so it's not a forgotten thing. This is, again, it's about capacity, and we were getting, I don't know, maybe 50 people last summer. The year before that, when we did it, it was really hot on the pavement on the side of the hill. The entertainers were complaining, but we had more people, but everybody was baking because of the parking lot. So, when everybody's talking about the yard and Antioch needs a hub, and it's true, we do. Unfortunately, we can't afford an additional, toy right now, but I would love to have something bigger than Waldy Plaza to actually host a music festival. And if you came, we pick great entertainers. I mean, we've not had one bad entertainer so far. I got a good crew with a good ear, and we vet everybody before they even come. And people want to return, so we have a good resume with how we treat people. So it's not forgotten. I think just one of the things is we're just trying to pace ourselves. It was a tough summer, having everybody in one building, seniors and 2 camps, and then we had our junior rec leaders, and we had our interns, and then we had
It seemed like
Yeah.
everybody was there.
everybody was there.
Everybody.
Yeah. So
Okay, I think that's it for me. Are we doing a groundbreaking ceremony for when we do put the shovel to the dirt for
we will.
Okay, and you'll let us know about that.
I will.
Okay, that concludes my remarks.
I just have one last question. Right now, we've got food truck night probably coming to a close. Are you guys in charge of that?
We are not in charge of food trucks.
Okay.
So that is a foodie crew, and they get a permit to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we partner together
With our events and
with our
whatnot.
events.
I
Yeah.
think they're going through October.
Correct.
That's what they,
Wonderful.
February to October.
I'm wondering if there's maybe an opportunity to do some live music Thursday nights while they're there.
So that's the thing, is Thursday nights for a commuter city like this is tough. And that's why I really put a pause on it, because a lot of people were complaining when we started at 5. And then it was like, okay, we'll start at 6. And then we started at 6 and people still weren't coming. It was like, well, it goes for 2 hours. I need to get home and get my kids ready for school, and I got to go to work, So it probably needs to be a Saturday for this community, and it probably needs to be on this side. And I think one of the things that I talked to our past city manager about was bringing like a First Friday down here and kind of collabing with the car show and bringing Adam and the food trucks down here and doing the music that way, either a Friday night or a first Saturday. Maybe we switch it up. Maybe our city doesn't have. It's a competing interest for us, and I just felt like we weren't winning, because I know Brentwood, they can have 1,000 lawn chairs out there by 3 p.m. It's an institutional thing for their community, and our community is still trying to get our footing into what we like. I know it works. I know 4th of July, Juneteenth, I know those work. I know the movie nights work. and I don't want to just keep, pounding our heads and spending our monies for, things that don't work. But we're not giving up.
I just had a question. Sorry. I just had a question referencing when we were talking about sports. The Junior Giants baseball, you mentioned that was a free club for the kids?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, what's the season for that?
The season is from June, the beginning of June, to the first weekend in August. Yes, it's co-ed. Co-ed from ages 5 to 13.
Well, I just wanted to also ask the 300 part-time team members, is there like a maximum of part-time people that you hire, or is it open?
It is based off the needs of the programs happening at that time. So the summers obviously are busiest because lifeguards, well, during a normal summer, lifeguards and cashiers and swim instructors and then camp counselors. But we do have some year-round staff that stay on with us. And our year-round staff shrink down to, I don't know, probably 150 maybe.
And where do you check on just the city site for openings?
We're always accepting applications, and then, we just always let the applicant know we'll hold on to it, or, we actually are hiring and we'll call you, but we're always accepting applications.
Okay, thank you.
And a lot of times we go to, high school events, we go table, and then that's how we get the word out as well.
What's the minimum age group? Age?
For employment,
Yes,
is
for
it
these summer jobs?
15.
15?
Yeah, you gotta get your work permit.
Okay.
Yes, work permit from the school.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I just have one more. I wrote this down, I forgot to say it. Thank you for reminding me. So I see you guys, we have the adult softball, and it looks like that's great. I was really just surprised just looking at it, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that many adults are into it. But do we ever have anything for basketball for adults, like, or any other type of sport? Have you looked into it? Have people like requested it or asked about it? Or are you just more focused on this because you already know that it works?
We do, all the drop-in sports are adults, so the drop-in basketball on Sunday nights, and the drop-in pickleball, so those are all also adult sports, but the leagues, we have looked into cornhole or kickball, but as far as like basketball and all that, what we are up against too is all of our facilities are highly utilized by like outside user groups, like rentals, and so we find ourselves constantly competing against, allowing for rental space, but also saving space for our own programs.
Right.
So adult softball for years has always committed Monday nights, Thursday nights, and Friday nights. So it's just trying to find space to also expand our programs while also allowing for the rental groups to come in.
Right, that makes perfect sense. And I just want to say one thing, because every time I'm up here as a commissioner, I'm always thinking that we're at the community center for some reason. So that's why I was thinking 94509, what are you talking about? But yeah, so that's really good to know. I'm really happy to hear all this stuff and learn about this stuff. I have an adult son who I think would love some of these things. So I'm just taking notes, but thank you again. Great job with everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one of those rental groups actually does a adult basketball league on Thursdays. That's pretty successful. He's been doing it for years, so.
How are we advertising our programs? I know we don't send the magazines to the home anymore. And then we would have I see the Instagram post that's been happening, because I do follow y'all. And it's really nice how you guys showcase the activities and what we are doing in our parks. Is that our only means of advertisement, is just through social media? How do we get how do the community find out about the activities? Do you still send that email blast out as well?
Yeah, so we have a constant contact that we do. I think it goes out every other Tuesday. So if you're on our newsletter share list, that goes out. There's social media. There's Peace Jar at the school. So sometimes for summer camp, we did Peace Jar. For our bigger events, we'll for the schools, we'll do something like that for like Junior Giants and for basketball. When we can take a lot of registrations, we'll put it out to the schools. We also use Nextdoor. So like for Jacobson's ribbon cutting, we picked that area right next to the park and dropped it on Nextdoor. So anything and everything that you can imagine, we're trying to do. So even with the rec guys, I'll bring them down here, put them by the water desk. They'll be at the library. So
And all the commissioners are invited to the ribbon cutting.
yes,
The one tomorrow?
yes.
Yeah, I'm fine.
One thing I've noticed over the years, particularly about scouts, because my family's been very involved in scouts, is that Brentwood seems to get a lot of publicity from the Brentwood Press and others. I see very little happening in Antioch in those ways. Are we getting things into the Antioch Herald, some of the other things that are getting distributed to Google News and others to get some of this word out, hopefully for free or inexpensively?
Yeah. Nothing's free with the press unless it's bad news and it's going to get a lot of clicks.
They gotta write about something
They
positive.
gotta write about something positive. And I will say, my relationship with both our local press writers has been a lot better. I think when I first got here, being from a different city and coming in, I was kind of an outsider, and I think people are trusting me a little bit more. And you know, they call me now. We just have a conversation. We talk about what's coming up. They're asking me like, give me something to post. I'll post it for you. So that relationship is there, and I think a lot of stuff in this city is based on relationships, and I think we have to rebuild that narrative of what is positive. And if you're on our Instagram, you can see the stories. The families are the stars of their own moments, and our young people who are putting this stuff out are just phenomenal of capturing the moment and posting it. And you know, you're seeing a lot of the talent grown in house. Like, these kids are from Deer Valley, or they're local. They've been living here, and they're putting out that story. So hopefully we can just continue that and foster that in the future.
Well, thank you both. You guys do an amazing job. Thank you for stopping by and just kind of enlightening us about what's going on. As we bring this business matter to a close, I want to know if there's any public comment. And
I just want to, Shad, can you, how do we add ourselves, or how do you add us to the blast email that you guys have out?
So we'll
Or
do
that
it.
you put out?
Yeah, so we'll do an update on Constant Contact and make sure that everybody up here that's new is added.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
We have no public comments.
okay, wonderful. Okay, so now we're moving on to business item number 2, parks and facility update. Is that you, Shahad?
That is me.
All right.
All right, so per the request, just to give an updates on all the projects that we have, I want to give updates on the projects. We kind of already talked about some of them, but let me get to it. And then we need to turn that off. Yeah. So we can just go through each one of these, and if you have questions, you can stop me at any time. So we already talked about the Antioch Water Park. It's anticipated to be complete on August 24th. Even though the pools are complete, there's a ton of landscaping. There's a ton of things that still need to occur. It takes 7 days to scrub a pool after plaster's been done, and then you have to balance the chemicals and stuff like that. So the lap pool has already had that cycle and is ready to go. So we're looking forward to having our water aerobics, which had up to like 60 participants in one class, come back. But again, there's a ton of landscaping that needs to be redone. So that's why this season we will not open for general admissions, but we will be doing classes in the pools that are ready to go. The Nick Rodriguez, the roof replacement project is currently underway. I gave the update that there's 8 units that went up today. So once they get the units on, they need to be connected, the ducting, and they need to do an air test so that we can go back in. Once we have that and the bathrooms get redone, we can occupy the building. But I want to make sure that the building is complete before we go back, because it's just a hassle to move people from one side to the next. So a real timeline will be the end of this year. Hopefully, the grant ends at the end of this year, and hopefully we can, time it right where 2027 they're back, ribbon cutting, the mural's still in good shape, and we can proceed. I will say that I'm not done with the mural. That mural is complete, but that is a foundation piece that I want to continue throughout the city to tell our story through art. So that is one of the next one. So if you've ever been to Concord, there's an art walk that you can do. And we're working with the same group that has done the art walk in Concord. So there's going to be a plaque that goes on the mural that tells the story of what the mural is and who the artist is. And then we're going to continue that in downtown and throughout. Even with the utility boxes, I'm big on trying to find money and funds to get our local artists opportunities to tell their story through their work. So that's one piece. Any questions on those two? We feel good? Feel great? All right. Jacobson Park, that is going to be tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. The ceremony is going to be short and sweet. We're going to have light refreshments. It's a beautiful park. Again, a culmination of finding funds and working with Public Works to keep and maintain what we currently have, which is really important. This is one of the largest play structures I've seen at a park. It is pretty impressive, so I can't wait to see everybody taking a look at it. And I hope the residents, I was out there hanging a banner, and one of the residents was like, when is this going to open? And I said, well, I have the banner saying it's going to be the 21st. So they're excited, too, to see the fences come down and get in there. Brand new basketball court, play structure, family eating area that's shaded, barbecue pit. It's really nice. Another project that's underway is Marquette Park. The tennis courts are going to be redone. The play structure is going to be redone. The bathrooms are already in place. And then they were going to do some infill work on that baseball field. So hopefully that is going to be within this year to kind of get finished. I'm trying to press Public Works to give me a data and a timeline for that. But that'll be a great park to have back for the community as well. Is located right next to a school. I can't remember the name of the school right now, but that's going to be good for the community members after school to utilize that park, especially with the new restrooms. Contra Loma Estates Park, that park is open. We officially had our state grant auditor come out. I did the walk with them to make sure that everything we said that the grant was going to do, we did. We passed that. And we found that we still have funds left, and it's recommended before we fully close out that we spend the rest of the funds. So we're looking to do new signage and hopefully maybe another shaded area within the park. I know a lot of community members wanted to have the lights on, so we've been putting the lights on until about 9 for the basketball courts. The park is in great condition still. The community members really embraced the park. Every time I go out there, there's people using the workout equipment, walking the trail. The dog park is one of the biggest in the city with the 2 dog parks. So it's a great asset to have for the community. Moving right along, community park. We still need to find funding to replace our turf fields. The price that I have been quoted is about $1.3 million. For our 2 turf fields, which is heavily used daily. It generates revenue. Also, the play structure needs to be redone. So we're going to be looking at one of these 50% match grants that's coming out to see if we can use a grant to have matching funds and actually get this project completed. We talked about the bike garden. We are getting very close to the 95% design phase, which will come back to you guys in September. And then one of the things I did not mention on here, but we're going to talk about next, is City Park. And so hopefully that is going to be a project that we are awarded a grant for and we can add to this list. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I've got one about the skate park, because that got some new improvements as well.
I did.
I've had some students come up to me and say that it is a little bit slick still. Do you guys have a plan to put like a urethane grit over the new artwork there? Is that still underway?
Yeah, so we've been in contact with Public Works, and every time we get a complaint, we send it to Public Works, and they are aware of the slickness. I will say that the taggers and all the artists have been using the tag boards. It looks like I need new tag boards. The artists did a phenomenal job, and hopefully everybody's safe out there. Make sure you wear your helmets and your knee pads and stuff like that.
Anybody?
Yes. Question on funding. Is there something, and it probably is, on the website to maybe give to a company and ask for grants or donations, or do we have like an application online or that we can present to?
Yeah, so what we had was a sponsorship program for our special events. I'm currently working with a group and our city attorney for a naming right situation. So that should be coming to city council pretty soon. Their role is really to take an asset of the city and go and be our agent to go to these businesses and stuff like that to procure 5-year deals to help power our soccer fields or power the water park versus me, myself, who sits behind a desk. I don't have those relationships, nor do I have the time to kind of go out there and seek those funds. So we found this group. So far, so good. The lawyers are talking. Once we get the contract language correct, we'll do a presentation. And I don't know if you guys would like to have the presentation first, but we can bring the presentation here and then figure out what assets we would like to market in terms of soliciting donations and naming rights. But for right now, I know Councilmember Pro Tem Freitas, we talked about that about a year ago, and a big concern was to bring in extra money for the water park. So I came up with a concept of not only renaming the water park, or saying powered by versus renaming, because this is a legacy thing for the city, but also, power each one of the pools. So each pool could have a different sponsor. We also talked about that for life jackets. The life jackets sponsored by, the sunscreen sponsored by, So those are things that we're looking at to kind of increase our outreach for funding.
Yes, I would love for the presentation to come before us so that we can hear about what's going on.
I just have one question. Yeah, so you said, so you were talking about replacing the turf, the fields or whatever, and you were talking about like maybe a 50% matching grant. So many of us know that our city is in a deficit, right? And so I'm trying to figure out, is this money that we've already had put to the side? Because they've already cut, we talked about them making cuts to Parks and Recreation already. So I'm just trying to figure out how realistic is it really to try to go after these grants if the money is not put to the side, seeing that we are in a deficit?
Yeah, so there's a couple different funding streams that the city has. There's park and lieu funds. There is a DIF fund, which is impact fees that we collect from residents. And then there, for the park in particular, has funding for it. It's just not enough. It's almost close to $1 million that this park has collected. So between various streams of funding, I'm trying to be strategic and make sure that we hold our capital to try to match it versus just going out there putting, bubble gum and duct tape on it.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to Don Merchant, who is phenomenal with numbers, our finance director. I've been talking with Scott. We have a meeting to kind of strategize. This is the time. There's one that we're going to miss this month. We just don't have the plans are not made. A lot of these grants, they pop up and then they're done. So the one that closes the end of August is a 50% match, but you kind of need to be ready to go. The next one is going to be in January, and I feel like we'll be better suited for that park, for that project. So really just being strategic and having our parks and our projects lined up and knowing exactly what we need to ask for is super important.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other comments regarding the subject matter? Any public comments?
No public comments.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to the next item on the agenda. And that is, I lost my page. So the third item is continuation of discussion of the potential project eligible for the upcoming available grant funding through Proposition 4. So Shahad, I know that's something.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a better job of having some guest speakers here to give me a break. This is my radio voice. I have a little headache, so I normally don't sound like this. But one of the things is that City Council approved moving forward with the projected project for City Park. I know a lot of people was devastated. I'm not giving up. I actually talked to about 4 or 5 of the people that spoke for Save the Yard. They are willing to continue to help us move forward with planning for City Park. And I'm committed to continue to look for funding and avenues to fund the park down in this district. So with a 4-to-1 vote, we're going to move forward with City Park. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of go over with the whole commission the outreach that needs to occur and get your input. And then we'll work with the ad hoc committee to actually put dates together and go to the park and execute the plan for outreach. So if you flip to the actual scoring sheet, it looks like this for you guys. So there's about 18 points here, and these points are very important. If you guys were watching the city council meeting, the difference between getting funding and not getting funding could be about 1 point. So the reason why this was chosen is because this park, for things that you can't change, has the best maximum point value. And I think that was the real difference. I think if they both physically had the same point value, I feel like the room was leaning towards the yard. But since this park has a few more points in that category, these 18 points are the ones that this commission and this community is going to be able to control. So number of meetings that we have is worth 4 points. The method in which we have these meetings is 3 points. Community representation is 1 point. You're going to get 4 points for the selection of recreation features and design elements. And then you're going to get 2 points for the location of the recreation features. And then there's 4 points for climate vulnerability, safety, public use, and park beautification is 4 points. So I just wanted to break down some of these so that the community is clear. We're asking for your help on these and just make sure everybody on the commission is clear. And it's also going to help our ad hoc committee kind of understand this as well. So the location of where we have these meetings is very important. So we need to have at least 5 meetings, and they have to happen after November 5th, 2024. And we need to get the ideas of the residents. We cannot control what they pick. So as much as I want a soccer turf field and maybe a splash pad and pickleball on a roof somewhere, we can't go in there and tell them that. What we need to do is we need to give them autonomous range to put a sticker on the amenity that they like. And we need to have 5 of these meetings. And how you get the 4 full points is that at least 2 of these meetings need to be held on the weekend or in the evening. And so as you see in this rubric, you get 2 points if you miss one of the steps. You get 1 point if you do half of the steps, and you get 0 points if you did facilitate none of them. So the real issue that we're going to do to make sure we get all these points is to make sure we have them at the park or we have them at one of the schools near the park. Now, there's 2 schools. There's Antioch Middle, which is a half mile away, and then there is another school. Help me out, Alex.
Is it Kimball or Turner?
I think it's Kimball.
Kimball.
Kimball is also a half mile elementary school. So that's a population of students and input that is going to actually could utilize this park. So I was thinking about having maybe 3 or 4. You have to have 5 is the minimum. It doesn't mean that that's all we have to get. So we can do paper surveys, but paper surveys don't count unless you have a group setting. So that's one of the caveats. Is that clear?
Yeah, but so question, so since it's in District 1, do all the meetings have to occur in District 1? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. So that's kind of how you have the method of the meetings. That's how you get those extra points, right? If we had them at the community center, they would say that's too far, that's out of the way. How are you really getting the people that live around? This is really based on having it right in the community and getting a broad range of perspective. So we can't just have, one group come out 5 times. We want to make sure we try to hit as many different groups in the evenings, on the weekends as possible. So we get the middle school, we get the elementary school, we have some things with the people that use the park right in the neighborhood. That will get us the maximum amount of points because we're getting different age groups, we're getting different times and dates and stuff like that. But it's all accessible because it's all within that half mile radius.
And our grant writers is going to be with us to assist us with all of this, correct?
So I went over this with Zoe from Townsend Public Affairs, and I got all my notes, and we are going to work together. I don't think they'll be on site, but we're going to make sure we collab to make sure we get the maximum amount of points because I have to collect this data, and then I have to give it to them to actually put in. So, and I will say these are my notes from our meeting. So if you have a question I can't answer it, then I didn't do good in the meeting. So this is a pop quiz.
Is there any difference with it being a city park versus a neighborhood park in terms of grant funding? Does it change point values? Does it change the way we have to do any of our outreach? Not really effective.
Here goes a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the points were also based on the size of the park, right? So this park is bigger and there's more residents around, so that's why this one was scored higher. And I know that was a question before. This park does have a restroom, so hopefully that's one of the features that people in the community would like to see come back. The biggest thing that I think as an ad hoc committee we got to make sure is how do we make the park safe? How do we get good sight lines and figure out the placement? And that's actually how you get selection of features and locations. That's part of the points. And they need to kind of drive that conversation. Okay. Are we good with number of meetings?
I just have one. So I know, well, you're saying District 1, because I know a lot of people in District 1, and I'm just thinking about how many, if we have meetings, like try to get a block of people or whatever to come to the park or whatever. So does it have to be, as long as even if they're in District 1, would that be okay? And then they meet at the park?
Yeah.
Or are we just looking for folks that are just within that half a mile?
Actually, we can get people from all over Antioch. I
But
think
as long
it's just the meeting location has to
Okay,
be
okay.
close to where the park is.
Okay.
So
Oh, yeah,
if people
perfect.
from, District 4 and District 3 come down and they want to give input, that's perfectly fine.
Oh,
And I
good.
think that would also help us because it's going to say like, you had the meeting in the location for the residents that's going to use it, but you got input from people from all over.
That's
Yeah. And so one of the things that we're thinking about is our sign-in, right? we need to kind of, like we talked about earlier, you know, where are you coming from? And then which interest group are you? Are you a current user? Are you an outside visitor? We want to kind of know that too, so we can have those different categories. Like we had students, we had parents, we had, you know, user groups that use the field, we had people that go to the farmer's market. We just want to have, so we need to create those categories in the spreadsheet for this whole process so we can capture the data.
And I think I saw something that allows for online access to those outreach meetings. As long as there's more people in person, it'll still count as a meeting.
Yeah.
Nice to be able to get people in there any way, shape, form. But
Got to drop a Zoom link.
yeah, and in terms of capturing that data on their locale, is it possible to use like the full 9-digit zip code for people? I mean, most people don't know theirs.
Yeah.
But it is much more specific than just the north side versus the south side of
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
think
something you
that's,
guys can leverage?
yeah.
Like you may have to ask for their address, but say we're not actually going to send you anything. We just need to know.
Yeah. Okay. Any other tips or tricks we can use in this?
When you say drop a Zoom link, I'm sorry, I always forget. If you say drop a Zoom link, right, how would we be able to have that service offered? Will it be something in the school that we can use? Because it sounds like it'll be a dual, like a hybrid meeting, right? I know we can do that here. Is this a location that's being considered because we have the capabilities to be able to have a hybrid meeting? Or will the school provide something so that we could have a hybrid meeting where people can be in person?
Yeah, I think that's something that we can look into, because even when we do a Zoom, once we meet and kind of figure out how we want people to vote, right? A lot of the way that we did the yard when I first got here was we had these boards and we had different categories, and I'm going to get to those categories of stuff. And they had stickers. They had a certain amount of stickers so they can vote just one time, but on each one of the, assets, right? So we could do that same thing online, where once we get to that area, if you're online and you can go into a little room and then you can go vote and then you can come back and there's ways to control it. And I think we have the IT team that could help us here. Even if we were at the park, like we can have hotspots and stuff like that.
I have a question though. How can we make sure that the people that are showing up on Zoom are actually from the city?
And that's one of the things we can't. That's why in here it says that you can count them, but you get their voice and their opinion, but it has to be more people in person. You can't just rely on online surveys or, the hybrid model. So we don't have to do it.
Because
We don't have to do it.
you be have some people from Oakley voting on what's going on out here. So, I mean, everybody has an opinion. So I would rather just have people show up
In person.
and then communicate that way. And then have those folks vote. And then, like you said, have multiple meetings at multiple different locations. I think that, well, at least that's my opinion.
I almost tend to agree. I think the facilitation, I think IT can definitely handle it. I think we have the capacity, but figuring out the logistics of it and then helping, our folks that are joining those meetings, they might need some very explicit instruction on how to do the voting process, how to do the polls.
Yeah.
It might add a lot of hiccups.
Okay. We can also just have it where it's streamed and they can just watch the process and not vote. So that's also a thing where maybe that gauges their interest to come to a in-person one.
Right, like you guys had the 2-week sessions. Some people came to both sessions, but if you could view in on the first session, and like you're saying, that might entice you to go to the second one.
Okay. Watch only.
But also, too, I know when we did the lumber yard, it's really about getting the people to participate. How are we going to advertise to solicit the participation? I know we got a lot of participation here at the city council meeting when it was being discussed, but we have to have a way to be able to capture the people to make sure that they come and is representative at those meetings, because that was some of the issue. We had a good turnout when we was doing the lumberyard, but they were very invested in what could be at that place. So hopefully we get the same thing, but I just want to make sure that we're marketing and sending it out so that we make sure we absolutely capture, you know, the community's input, and that everyone, there's no barriers that's going to preclude them from being able to be a part of it. And so, like you said, we have meetings on the weekend, we have meetings at night, and so, but some people were saying at first they didn't hear about it, and then as we progressed, we got more and more participation.
Yeah. And that's one of the things here too is you don't lose points if you go to where people already are. And I think that's where, you know, if we're strategic and we want to start by going to the schools first, and then that gets a buzz because they're there, and maybe we can work with the principal and have, you know, a meeting, and we put it on Peace Jar and they're hanging up flyers. Maybe that's our first two, and then the next three is at the park. But I feel like, again, the yard people that I talk to, they're willing to help too. So that's a very strong base that will show up at the park. So again, it's about just us creating a strategy of how we want to attack it. We can pay for some postage and do a mile radius around the park and send out some flyers and stuff like that, and boost our social media for the flyer of the dates that we choose.
I'm also seeing incentives that we can get people to attend. Are there any low cost to the city incentives that might also like boost recreation in other ways? Like, could we, I know oftentimes there's like $10 Amazon gift card or $5 Starbucks gift card, whatever it is. Could we do something like would it be in our best interest to maybe offer, say, like a season pass to the water park for the next season, right? If you show up to the meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe we can raffle that out. You know, if you come, you know, you get a raffle ticket. So then, you know, it makes it more, you know, feasible. You know, you raffle it out, and whoever, you know, you pull a raffle, and you can give it that way. But we definitely got to make sure that we get the people's participation.
And I think especially so, like, that park's going to be under construction for a year or two, right? If we give those residents in the nearby area a chance to come give their input, and while they're waiting in excitement, you know, get them out to the water park.
yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
they'll enjoy that too.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. And I think, you know, again, this is open for all of us to kind of discuss and give ideas. So as an ad hoc committee comes together, you know, I'm taking down these notes. We can just figure out what that looks like.
Well, we already chose the ad hoc committee, right?
We did.
So then, what do you need from us? I know we usually, it's me, myself, Gardner, and Greg. So I know last time we all just kind of showed up at different meetings to participate with the community. So what do you need from us now? Is it still similar, or is it going to be something more?
It's going to be something similar. It's probably going to be a little bit more in depth because I'm going to need the help to A, market, and then B, plan, right? So we need to figure out the dates that work for everybody, the dates and times, and then kind of give everybody a mission to kind of get out there. You know, if you're going to be door knocking, or if you're going to be, you know, just calling your network and stuff like that. So I think for this meeting, I just kind of want to give everybody an overview of how it's scored, and then I can follow up with an email to the ad hoc committee and say, you know, what's the best time that the four of us can meet and to kind of move forward with a concrete plan.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments?
Just one more. So I'm just curious, how many people do you think would be sufficient for us to, like, I mean, is there, like, did they say like a minimum of 20 participants, or like how does that go?
Yeah, I think the more that we can show that the community is behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, just like they had that list of like 500 signatures or whatever the number was, that will show, you know, the people that's voting, like, the community stands behind this. And I think the more that we can show that the community actually planned this is going to be important, because there's, you know, scoring for, did they pick native plants and trees and stuff like that. So that needs to be one of the little breakout areas that we have so that we can teach them what we need them to pick and then allow them the space to actually naturally select everything we need in each category.
Do you see yourselves having like an information session on what sort of amenities, all that sort of thing, so that you can get them briefed on, what they can ask for? Is that pretty standard?
Yeah. So I fortunate enough to be in that last one where we had the consultant who did that and kind of showed this is the station talking about just the benches, and this is the station talking about just the plants, and this is the station. So we want to be able to bring everybody in, give them an overview, and then break them up so that they can go into the smaller groups and then rotate them so they give their input on everything that we need to cover for the park.
And what also we did in those group settings, we were given like little toothpick flags of different things that we wanted to see at the location. And so some of us wanted to see the amphitheater. I think once you looked at the 5 or 6 group, that was they narrowed it down by the consistency of the themes among the different groups, so that the amphitheater stuck out the most for everyone, and so they added that. And then some of the groups wanted the water feature, and so that's how we were able to kind of identify it. And it was funny because when I first started on the commission, I didn't really know that Antioch had native plants. It took Commissioner Broom to talk about the different native plants and trees to this area, which I found was very eye-opening. And it's like, we want to look and make sure that we continue to make sure that we have those plants and trees that's native for us in this community, for the cross-pollination of bees and all kind of things that be going on. I was like, what? But it's just, just different things in the open spaces. I know that the community really needs a park in that area, and hopefully, it'll make some more excitement to where we can find a way to somehow get the lumber yard developed in a way in which the community would want it.
Yeah. All right. So just to recap, meeting locations within walking distance for residents, project site, neighborhood, community-based organizations, schools may let you use their meeting spaces, schedule multiple meetings, including weekends and evening hours. Okay, meeting methods. The way you get 3 points for this is 3 ways we invited people. Right, and how do we get the broad residents? So we talked about door knocking, we talked about going to the schools, we talked about posting stuff on Instagram. So I don't think we're gonna have a problem there, getting the 3 points there. They give us a couple of examples. Out of the 9, I think I highlighted, 8 of these. So, the mail-in invitations, the social media, we cover all that type of stuff.
Hang out in front of the grocery store?
Farmers market. I was talking about the farmers market, the grocery store too. Yeah, just getting the word out. Yeah. Community representation. Again, this is where we're talking about the sign-in sheet and just making sure we're strategic on our end of how we're capturing the representation that's coming to us. So we need to kind of work that out. And anything we come up with, I will go over with our consultant just to make sure we're not missing anything. All right, moving on to the selection of recreation features. Again, it states that the residents need to lead the selection. So this one, to get the four points, is kind of broken down by 2, 1, 1. So you need to kind of do each one of these things well in order to get the full 4 points, unlike the others, which is like you had to have 5 meetings to get the 4 points, and if you had 3 meetings, you get the 2. So we need to make sure we come up with a way that the residents select their preference features and are not limited by predetermined options. And so when I talked to the consultant, I was a little concerned. I'm like, how do you even kind of do this? We can come up with a full list of all types of amenities, and I put it into ChatGPT, and we'll go from there. So that's kind of how we're going to do it. And I want to break it out by the subsections of the park beautification and the safety and things like that. So the lighting, the benches, and all that type of stuff will go under safety. So when they go to that section, we'll get their input and we'll let them do the sticker. That way, nobody has to worry about my sloppy handwriting or my bad note taking. We'll just have it, and then I can capture it with a picture, and I can send it off to the consultants, and they can capture that data.
Yeah, I did feel like that last meeting for the yard, it was a little bit leading in some situations, I felt. So making sure that's very open-ended and that the public's educated on what their options are is going to be huge.
Yep. The residents provide ideas for design elements for the features. That park already has a theme. I think kind of educating them about a theme of a park, of like a natural scape park or a park that is a pirate park or something like that, will help them understand design elements. And then a list of ideas of all the design elements that will be implemented, that will be provided. So although they give us, a million ideas, once we get to the end of it, we get to select which ones were used the highest. And then in our report, we need to say 56 residents chose this. And if we put that in the grant, we will get that 1 point. All right. So going to location of features. Again, it's about us doing both of these things to get the 2 points. The residents express their reason for the locations of these features, and we give them a list of the implementations within the park that have been provided by the residents. So we need to figure out how to make that happen in order to get the 2 points there. So one of the examples they have, the residents chose soccer field to be located on the opposite side of the homes to eliminate the noise for surrounding neighborhoods. That was something that would be captured in the notes of like why they wanted to be placed there.
So would we, in thinking about that, would we just have a picture of the park, like the city park area with nothing on it? And then give them the elements that they can choose to put on the city park? Is that how we can, that'll help not influence some of the decisions, but just here's the elements, here's a blank canvas.
Yeah, draw it out.
Almost kind of like a
Yeah.
magnet
Yeah.
board,
Yeah.
put things.
Yeah, and I think the last consultant for the last park was really good because I think we got the education, we picked the main things, and then we came back to our groups, and then we had the big map, and then everybody was trying to fit different stuff in, and then everybody had to present their park at the end, and they had one spokesperson, and it was like kindergarten. It was like, we drew this, and this is why we put it here. So I think if we follow that model, I think we can capture that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because I was thinking, that's why I was thinking it would be better to have majority of the meetings at the park so people can visually see what's going on. But I think that's a great idea to like have a map of some sort, kind of showing what it looks like. For
Kind of
those
like
who
a
may have-
design the
like
park.
a blank canvas,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
All right. All right, so this one is another one that is individualized, 1 point for each. We're talking about the climate, we're talking about trees. That's why the bike garden has over 100 types of plants and bushes and trees, because we're trying to have natural shading. So we just need to make sure we educate our community of like, what is our climate vulnerability and what does it look like to mitigate that. So once we have that plan, we will get these points here. Again, this is where the safety of the park is included, and also the park beautification. And so just giving them the education of maybe some examples from previous parks, but not giving them examples of what this park could look like. And I think if I would have to do some work of like, hey, here's a park in San Francisco. This is what they did for blight and sight lines, and just kind of, we're going to have to try to teach as we go at these outreach events. So that's all laid out there. Examples for safety, family-style restrooms with clear sight lines, controlled access points, and the sinks outside to mitigate safety risks. And so we're currently doing that now. We did that at the Contra Loma Estates Park, where the hand washing stations are outside. The doors are cut at the bottom so that you can see, you know, if somebody's in there, and then, you know, you go in there, you handle your business, and when you come out, you're washing your hands out in plain sight, and then you kind of, you know, jet free. And again, I think for us, we want to do as much research on restrooms, especially for this park, of how we can make it safe and durable. Okay?
Now, Shahad, oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
question. This is something that I've seen in, as far as park, and have you had anyone come to you about outdoor roller rink?
I have not.
Because this is becoming a thing, outdoor roller rink in parks and in neighborhoods.
Yeah, I haven't had anybody, but we could put it as a park amenity for sure.
So Shahad, when we're thinking about making sure we don't interrupt the autonomy of the design, but we have to educate them. Are we able to have just because you got to have a place to start, but you got to give them the foundation.
Yeah.
So are we able to really do that? Because I know that's how that helped us too, by having the foundation of what a park could look like, and
Yeah.
you know, the different design elements that could go in the park. You know, from a blank canvas, it's like thinking outside of the box. Because I think that was somewhat of a hard concept. Is really like trying to think outside the box with a blank canvas. Because you know, you think of these little elements you think supposed to be in the park, but we do have to give them the education. So if by us educating the community, it's not going to infringe upon us losing points, right?
No, and I think that might help us if we show that we had storyboards for each one of the categories that we need of design. So, you know, what makes parks safe? You know, case study here, this is what this city did. And, you know, in Seattle, they have bathrooms like this and stuff like that. So we could just, you know, we can educate them, and they can be like, we don't want a bathroom at all, you know, or whatever. You know, but again, we just want to make sure they understand each one of the categories. We define it, we give a few examples, and then we have a full list of everything that's possible, and then we let them go. And then after that, they can design it all together as a group.
I think if my memory served me correctly, I think we had the educational piece first.
First, yes.
And then we came back again
Yep.
for the designing portion.
Yep.
So if we have to do 5 meetings, are we able to do maybe 1 or 2 educational meetings and then have 3 meetings to do the design
yeah.
elements?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I remember you speaking about, because I think that this will come up. I don't know if it will fall under safety or what, but with the bathrooms, we were talking about unhoused, our unhoused community, and sometimes people go in and, you know, how are we gonna make sure that they don't mess bathrooms up, or people don't go in there and mess bathrooms up. So I think, does that fall under I mean, I know people are gonna ask about that. People ask me about that all the time, even when I've just been bringing up different things, being on this commission with different parks and things like that. So I know you just mentioned Seattle. I don't know what they do with their bathrooms. I know they have an unhoused problem, but a homeless problem out there. But can we do some research to see what other cities are doing to try to prevent those things from happening? I know you mentioned something like something you were mentioning before. Our last meeting. But
Martinez just what is it called? The Throne? Yeah, so we were looking at the Throne, and what they do is they have a QR code, and you have to scan to get in the bathroom, and then it has a time limit, and then the doors open automatically if you're in there too long. And then what happens is they have detectors, so if you're in there smoking or something like that, you scanned in on a phone and you basically will lose your privileges. And the way that they have it is, if you're unhoused and you don't have a phone, that you can go to City Hall and you can get like a pass, like a key card or something like that.
Okay.
That bathroom is, I think, the best model. I don't think that, but that's a model that also is like subscription based. You have to pay every year for them to come clean it and monitor it and do all that type of stuff.
Okay.
But I think that there's other models of restrooms out there that have similar, either technology or have similar, effects to mitigate the abuse of the bathroom. And when I say like Seattle, I think their bathrooms are more like open. It's not a concrete bathroom where it's four walls. It's like I see the top and the bottom, and it's like the middle is like,
Whoa.
Yeah. But again, it's for you to go use and not play
And
in,
then, yeah,
right?
right.
And then I know when we go to conference, there's a million different. I don't go to them because I'm like, we ain't got no money for that. But when we go to conference, they have the models there, and they have them where if you're in danger, the way that the roof is pitched, that the sound comes out. So, and then they have time locks, automatic locks, and we've been talking about this for a while because we spend a lot of money to unlock and lock the bathrooms. But there's technology where they will unlock in the morning and they will lock at night. So there's different stuff out there, and we just need to research it and have the imagination to be like, we don't have a limit. We need to get the best thing possible.
Right.
So.
No, and just so I make this clear out there, I'm not saying all in-house people do that, but a lot of people do have concerns, and we can't be naive to some people that have mental illness and maybe some substance issues or whatever. But I think that's definitely something that the community is gonna want to know about, and I definitely think that it's a great idea for us to have at least some different models before we go in front of them.
Yeah, and it's also, again, it could be about location, right? Currently, the bathroom is in the middle of the park. What if we put the bathrooms closer to the street? What if the sight lines were different, right? Those are all things that can kind of play into, where's the placement of stuff? And right now, it's some beautiful trees out there, but it's kind of, one side is kind of like been inhibited by the trees, and it's kind of dark all the time, even in the daytime. So again, we need to kind of educate them about sight lines and understanding that, what will make them feel safe.
Right.
It might be something totally different.
Yep.
Like
pick something. Mm-hmm.
when I said the Seattle bathroom, some of the faces of the women like, it's wide open. Like,
Yeah.
that's not safe to you, but it's a safer concept and design. So what is going to be safe for everybody? And then we're gonna have to have those conversations and kind of figure that out.
Right, and I'm just hoping that, whatever we do, we can kind of make sure that we also think about the humane side of everything too.
Yeah.
I know you just kind of mentioned, some, I guess, they can go to City Hall or have different places. I don't really see a place over there they can do that unless we kind of partner with somebody in that area.
Yeah.
But, if you got to go to the bathroom, you got to go to the bathroom. You
You
can't
do.
run all the way to City Hall. So
Right.
I just want us to make sure we do these different things like as humane as possible for
Yeah.
folks. So, thank you.
Yeah, especially with regard to climate vulnerabilities, right? Like you're talking extreme heat, splash pad, having something like that, having, a water bottle fill station, which we don't really have at any of our parks. We have fountains, right? Maybe removing some of the exclusionary architecture, right? So that people can find relief if they can't get to a shelter,
Yeah.
During the daytime,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And one of the things about that park, when we were looking at the footprint of it, I was told that that rock wall was a lot higher. And again, we're talking about sight lines, right? And the way that the fence is now with that rock wall is taking up real estate of that park. And it's a beautiful rose garden out there, and I love it. But we would need to kind of also think about that. Like, do you want a fence that somebody could be hiding on the other side of it that you can't see, right? Do we want to put the playground closer to the street? Do we want to move the parking lot? There's also an empty lot in between the residence house and that corner building. And so I want to have a conversation of who owns that lot, and could that be the new parking lot? And then you could get rid of the parking lot in the middle, and now we can make it one big park, so we can get more footprint to put more stuff in. So this is super exciting for me. I wanted to be an architect growing up. I always played with Legos. I always a big drawer. It wasn't in my cards. I went to a school that didn't even have architecture. That's what happens when you're a first generation college student. So, but I think this is exciting for us to imagine, and redesign, and come up with something super cool. And it's really, really awesome that we don't have to have a limit, right? We will have a limit once they pick the stuff and be like, okay, a splash pad is a super high end, and it's going to cost for our staff from the water park to go maintain it. But they may want pickleball. They might want something simpler, right? They might want a dog park in that area. They may want a track around the soccer field, or they might want to get rid of the soccer field altogether, which gives us a bigger footprint to do something else, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what the concept that the community comes up with, but that's the conclusion of the scoring for the 18 points, and I appreciate everybody's input.
Are there any more comments before we move on to the next item of business, which are communication? I take it we don't have no public comments, right?
We have no public comments.
All right, thank you. So Shahad, we move on to the next item of business, which is communication, staff communication, which is announcements and correspondence.
All right, Jalen, you got anything?
No.
All right, I got some stuff. All right, so we got Big Truck Day. We already talked about Jacobson Park. Big Truck Day is going to be the day before my birthday. So if anybody want to Cash App, Venmo, help somebody out, I'll drop it in the chat. But it's going to be September 17th from 4 to 8. We're going to have a lot of our local workers that drive big trucks, and it's a great opportunity to get close to one of these big rigs, understand what they do in our community, and for the kids to kind of imagine themselves driving the school bus or the garbage truck. And then we'll have some people out there tabling and stuff like that. So very, very well attended event. Also on September 19th, we have Coastal Cleanup. And so the two locations, again, it will be the Antioch Marina and the Antioch Water Park to do our trails. That is going to be September 19th from 9 to 12. One of the things I wanted to follow up is that CPRS, the conference is in March 2nd through the 5th. That's going to be in Sacramento. So we're going to send some of our staff, and then I know in the past we send some of the commissioners. So I just want you guys to put that on your radar. It is March 2nd through the 5th. We do have funding to send a couple of our commissioners. The early bird price is around $500. I think it's $550, but we need to register by November 10th. So I will say this year, if you do want to go, I would cap it at 3 so we don't violate any Brown Act violations. And then also that you would need to be there for the whole time. I know some of the commitments that, we had a couple commissioners come for 1 day and 2 days, but to really get the bang for the buck and to kind of get there early and meet some of the other commissioners and admin team, that this commitment for this price would be the full length of the conference.
And I'm sorry, I missed the location.
It's in Sacramento at the conference center. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and free up my space for that.
All right.
But I want to say it's a really good time. If you're a new commissioner, you get to see a whole lot of different sides of Parks and Recreation you might not be familiar with. It's worthwhile.
All right. So think about it. I don't need to answer now. I just want to put it out there. I did locate the funding for it. One of the grants I was talking about that's coming up is the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Again, that application is going to be due in January. It is a $6 million grant with a 50% match. I am attending that workshop next week in Richmond. It is a face-to-face workshop, and I've already talked to Public Affairs Townsend about this grant, and so we're already working on that. And that is all that I have. I'll put these flyers out in the front for anybody in the community that's listening and watching that would like to pick up more information.
Any questions for Shahad? All right.
Can I get larger printouts of those flyers?
Yes, I'll email you some. Yeah.
Okay.
I concur with Vice Chair Broom about the conference. It was very enlightening, and so I was happy that I went, because being a commissioner, you know, you think about Parks and Rec, you really, I mean, I didn't have a full understanding of what Park and Recreation commissioners do. So it was an opportunity to network with other park commissioners, also too, to get to an idea to look at the different park structures. So they have a whole, what do you call it, convention center, where you get to see the different new designs for parks and stuff, so you can see what materials and stuff they're using. So I found it to be very eye-opening. So I would suggest you just want us to send our names if we want to go. Okay, so send your name to Shahad. That would be wonderful. If there's no comments for him, we're going to move on to the next and final line of business, which is commission's communication. No questions? All right, no public comment.
We have no public comments.
All right. Okay, so is there any commission communication? I can start. For me, I would say that I was able to attend a few different events for the Park and Recreation Department. I was able to attend Juneteenth, which was very exciting. I was planning on attending the 4th of July, but I got sick. And so I was sick from June 19th, right after Juneteenth, and still somewhat battling some things. But usually I love to, 4th of July, that's when the community comes together as well, and they have parades. We get to vote on the parades, and you get to interact with the community. I'm a people's person, so I love to see the community excited by the things that we do, and really get a chance to ask them questions. How do you like this? You know, is this working for you? And so just a way to interact. So I want to commend our Park and Recreation staff, because they are doing an amazing job over there with the limited staff. Every time they think they probably got some more staff, then they have to lose something, and they've been having to work on a somewhat of a shoestring budget when, you know, because of our deficit with the cities, but they're still keeping our parks up and going. They're thinking out of the box and coming up with new innovative ideas on how to still service our community, and I thank you for that. I think for us, when we came here for the presentation at the city council meeting for the city park versus the BD Lumberyard, it was really a hard decision. And so the recommendation, we couldn't really make a choice, because it was like, you know, you look at all the programs that could qualify, right? Then you look at the five parks that identified that met the criteria, and then out of those there was 2, right? And so, and they both had different things that was happening between the 2, and what would qualify for more points that would give us the most benefit to be able to just obtain a grant. And I want to say, you guys, the Park and Rec, Shahad, did an amazing job with our consultants to be able to field and answer the questions from not only the community, but also for city council members. And so based on the information that was presented, the city council did make their vote to go with City Park. But that's our staff hard at work, right? And our job here is our discussions that we have. It is very important, because they looked at our minutes and our discussions and what we talked about when we had met in May to talk about the different parks, the grant that the parks could serve. So what we do here is important as well. So just always be mindful that we are here serving our community, and our Park and Recreation staff is here working hard and making sure that we're giving the community what they need, and we're trying to be successful. So I just want to say thank you. I want to welcome our new commissioners again. Thank you. I'm happy I have finally a quorum. And so I hope you had a great summer. Our Parks and Rec commission meetings were canceled a couple of times due to the conflicting schedule with city council, and then I was ill. So now we are in the full swing of things, so just be ready. It's finna get very busy, especially with these ad hoc meetings that's getting ready to come up and engaging. And make sure that, you know, when you have an opportunity to attend different, you know, park and recreation events, go and see what your parks look like. Go and see what the staff is doing, and see how the community is actually benefiting from the job that everyone is doing. So I'll see everybody tomorrow at 4:30, hopefully, if you can make it. And at that, I will yield the floor. Anybody else have any commission? Oh, I'm still working on my kickball game. I'm working hard. You know,
But you can't do much.
I'm not gonna participate, but I will orchestrate it. I just feel like the community needs something to bring us all together, and I think the kickball game will give all ages an opportunity to participate. And so, and it could be a family. I want to see the families come together to be able to participate with one another, and also get to know the leaders of our city. So that is the goal behind the kickball game. I want to just kind of bring us all together so that we all can see who's who and who's doing what, and also to where it's a community. We all live here, and I want to bring our community together. So I'm working on that, and hopefully soon we'll get that done. And so for that I'll yield the floor. That's all I have at this point. Anybody else have
Yes. As being a new commissioner, I didn't realize Antioch had so many parks. I mean, it's just amazing of all the parks that they have. I did get a chance to go to the skate park for the ribbon cutting. I had never been to the skate park. The mural work is amazing. I had a chance to meet the actual artists. It was really nice. And also had a chance to be a judge at the 4th of July parade. That was amazing too, just to see all the different designs and the concepts and all the different things that people come up with to be festive in their 4th of July outfits and their designs like that. But it's been nice just to see what actually is out here in Antioch. And before being a commission, I didn't know. So I'm really glad to be a part of the commission board here. So that's my piece.
Yeah, I want to say that too, that 4th of July parade, judging with you, that was really, really fun. Last year I was in the parade. I had the Facing Homelessness bus in the parade. That was fun, but just sitting on the other side. Now, this is the crazy part about it, is that even being in the parade last year, we were so focused on like waving to people and stuff. I didn't even know there was like a judging station. So it was so interesting to be on that other side, and then they would stop and then do their little performance and stuff in front of you. So that was really fun. I actually wore 3 hats that day. Being the judge, we did have the bus, our Facing Homelessness bus in the parade, and then my son was there too. So I was a mom, had to be a mom after that and go, get some food and do all these different things. So it was really fun. So I'm glad too that you just clarified that for the community, and a lot for the community that were not there during the city council meeting, because people were trying to figure out, well, why can't we get 2 grants or apply for 2 grants, or and we had some community members that were upset, and then even online. So I'm glad that you brought up the point system and how we're just trying to make sure that we actually get the grant, and what's the best park in order to be able to do that, right? And so I'm glad that you brought that up. We already brought up, I wanted to bring up the communication between, for the commissioners. I think I kind of brought that up. I think it'll be just fine for you with that email blast or whatever, and sending it out, and letting the commissioners know, like, when different events and things are going on. And then I did write this down. I know you keep bringing up the kickball, but the basketball game for the staff and for city staff. And I reached out to, and I let you know, Shahad, reached out to the folks at Cornerstone, and they are interested in a basketball game, letting some of their the youth there that are there join. And they were thinking October-ish, but they are open to whatever we want to do. They're even saying that we may be able to even use their courts, at that school. So that's something we don't even have to worry about.
They want home court advantage. That's what they want.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. But I think that'd be great. And I also have been reaching out to some folks to see if maybe we can get some people to sponsor maybe pizza or something for all the participants to come out too. So I am working on that, and I reached out to Shahad already. I have taken a little break because I'm in the process of moving, but next month I'll be back on that, and maybe we can meet soon and talk about that. And if any help with the kickball game, because I love that idea too, because I love the idea of, like, the family, meaning the mama, the daddy, the son, like all the kids, family, everybody coming together for that. So any help you need with that, I can be of help for that too. Thank you.
I don't want to reiterate everything they just said, but I want to give my kudos to everybody, all the staff. Also, as a new commissioner, I've had to do my homework and, come up to speed on this stuff. I've gone to every park. I've located every park. I didn't know they all were there, like other people. I went to Google and started looking at reviews, looking at the conditions of the parks. Our parks are phenomenal. There's one or two that, and some of the playgrounds need work, and there's certainly room for improvement, but they are beautiful, every one of them, especially the newer ones, but that's to be expected. But I just want to give my kudos to everybody that does the work on your teams and Public Works and others that do the works in these areas, because we've got a really good community park system here. I'm looking forward to supporting it further as we go forward.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, I need a motion to, no public comments, right?
No public comments.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All right, let me see, as we can.